To the Queen and Prince Philip, the government and people of India stretched out the hand of welcome. President Prasad, Premier Nehru and Vice President Krishnan were at the airport to meet them. To arrive in India for the first time is an unforgettable experience for anyone in any age. How much more so for the Queen, for whom the magic of air travel in a few hours translated the January gloom of London into the tropical brilliance of New Delhi. Dr. Prasad sincerely spoke for the whole Republic of India in bidding the royal visitors a most warm welcome. The Vice President, as well as Mr. Nehru and his sister, added his greetings. To peoples not understanding the Commonwealth, it must have seemed a paradox that the Republic of India, no longer owing allegiance to the Crown, should yet so wholeheartedly welcome the sovereign. A paradox, too, that the Rajput, the noble highway from the airport into the city, should still be called Kingsway. Half a century had passed since a reigning monarch last visited India. The 50 years in which that great country, no less than the rest of the world, has been transformed. In the weeks to come, Her Majesty would see much of both old and new India. The Queen rode in Dr. Prasad's car with the picturesque presidential bodyguard in escort. Prince Philip drove with Mr. Nehru. The Indian Premier remembers in what high esteem the Duke's uncle, Earl Mountbatten, held Mahatma Gandhi, at whose shrine, a very sacred place to all Indians, the Queen and her husband put on velvet sandals, the custom observed by all foreign visitors to the tomb of the prophet of independent India. "13 years, all but a few days, had passed since the Mahatma was cremated at this place. The Queen's tribute was in the form of a wreath of 500 roses. Mrs. Pandit's simple and affecting tribute was that of a personal disciple of Mahatma Gandhi. The Queen planted a tree near those of President Eisenhower and Mr. Khrushchev. Jaipur, capital of Rajasthan, lay only a short flight from Delhi. Here, the Queen and Duke would be moving among scenes recalling the princely states. 9 young women bearing painted jars on their heads bade traditional welcome to Bankrota village, a community development where the new India rubbed shoulders with the old. The offering of tiny lights on a copper tray by ladies of the Maharaja's family was another part of the ritual greeting. The bearded governor of Jaipur was in the party which accompanied the Queen. After that gracious reception, the Queen went to see the practical side of the Bankrota project, inaugurating the water supply. While modernizing the country, India is in no hurry to abolish the old ways unnecessarily. The Queen saw corn being ground by the chaki grinding wheel. Who knows for how many centuries villagers have employed this method. Her Majesty and the Duke admired the handsomely attired bullocks, which were used to drag the Maharaja's chariots. Within the courtyard of the Maharaja of Jaipur's palace were 6 magnificent elephants, the most splendid of all, assigned to carry the Queen and her host. This was an India evoking memories of the historic Delhi Durbar, held in honor of the King Emperor George V, the Queen's grandfather. Covered in gorgeous silks, the elephants and procession epitomized Indian splendor. It must have been an amusing experience. Certainly no royal visit to the subcontinent could have been complete without an elephant ride. There remained the beautiful Rajput welcome to the palace, at which the Queen and Duke received the Tilak mark, the lightly touched vermilion dab on the forehead. somehow it symbolizes the courtesy and graciousness of Indians towards their guests. Already Her Majesty had seen many fascinating sides of Indian life. During the royal visit was held the Republican Day Parade, quite the most memorable anniversary of the young Republic of India. As the Queen and Duke rode with the President, the route was lined by nearly 3 million people. The splendidly uniformed lancers of the President's bodyguard reminded veteran spectators of vice-regal days. It was another example of the affection with which India adheres to ceremonial inherited from the British. A proud day this for every Indian, and surely the proudest man of all was Dr. Prasad, the 76-year-old head of the Republic for which he labored and suffered during so much of his political life. And how superb was the parade of which he took the salute. Marching past were regiments whose names are gloriously written in British military history. Today they glory in continuing the valiant traditions of the old Indian Army. Girls of the St. John Ambulance Brigade were not to be outdone in smartness by the men. In striking contrast to the airborne arm and shortwave radio, modern and up to the minute, were the 12 magnificent elephants, always a feature of the anniversary parade, and with the onlookers, always a very popular feature. The state of Madras contributed a float representing a Juggernaut temple chariot. All along the route, the crowds were entranced by the dancers, especially by the youthful performers. So this virile republic celebrated its 11th anniversary. India seems to be emerging as the most civilizing influence in Asia, a power for peace in a world of conflict. In contrast to the parade was the garden party in the grounds of the Presidential Palace, once the Viceroy's house. Lord Morrison, who was lecturing in India, was among the 7,000 guests. Here in the Mughal Gardens, representatives of many walks of life in India met the royal visitors.